failure. It was a disaster beyond belief. You know, you said that Dinkins cannot feel. He has no empathy for the suffering of another group. Him and Laura Blackburn and Hazel Dukes and the whole clique that's driving this city into the ground.
I think on a deeply emotional level that he himself is unaware of, he simply cannot empathize as easily with Jews and whites as he can with blacks. I don't think he's a bad man for that, but I think that he has an emotional failing in that respect.
Well, I think that does make him a bad man because, you see, the pathology of the mind of a racist, that's what makes a racist. In Germany, the German people could not empathize with the suffering that was inflicted upon them by the Jews. When you feel that your group, like in the South, Dinkins is only doing in the South what whites did to colored people, and that was they could not empathize with the sufferings and humiliations and lynchings that went on down there.
No, well, I think there's a difference. There's a key difference, and I have to point it out. It's incumbent upon me to point it out. The difference is this. I don't think that David Dinkins wakes up in the morning and says, how can I hurt white people? How can I eliminate Jews? So I don't think that you can liken his mentality to the mentality of people such as Nazis or white Southerners who wanted to hurt blacks and prevent them from voting or working or eating. Wait a minute. However, it's more subtle with David Dinkins. I don't think he looks to hurt people. I simply think he can't feel their pain, and he just can't resonate with them the way he can resonate with black people. Plain and simple. I think that's an emotional failing. I don't think that it is necessarily a moral failing.
Well, you know, I'm a student of Freudian psychology, Jay, and that is exactly the pathology of the racist. See, the racist subconsciously may not even know that he's a racist. And many times those who claim to be the victims, such as Dinkins, I mean, he's always saying he's the victim. They take on the nature of those who have oppressed them and do it to a group that is in less power than they are. This is exactly what he's done. For him to come out and say that he's the victim, that, I mean, let's face it, look, those who are protesting, those who are screaming about him, they could call him every name in the book. There's nothing wrong in that. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that you can't do that. Nobody is advocating violence. Nobody said, well, let's storm the steps of City Hall. Nobody said, let's run riot. Nobody said that. People are doing exactly what David Dinkins' role model, Martin Luther King, said. Peaceful protest. Yet he is affronted by the fact that they are following the teachings of a man who has a national holiday, Martin Luther King, and turns around and calls these people racist. I have never heard anything so absurd, so stupid in my life. For him to talk about code words. What does he mean, code words?
Well, look, we don't need code words insofar as analyzing his behavior. His behavior has been criminally weak and criminally negligent. He has a history, one case, one incident after the other, of favoring the interests of the criminals over innocent people.
May I say that?
He has an emotional link to people who are rule breakers. I cannot explain why, but I see it. It's plain to see. You can see it with the eyes on your face, Frank.
And one thing, I can't understand, how come Abdullah is taking the name of Arab slave masters? He should have an
You'll have to solicit from him his home number. And speak to Abdullah. I can't. I'm not his attorney.
I mean, nobody asked him this question. I think he's enjoyable. He has a wonderful sense of humor and a very quick wit, but I can't understand that. Thank you very much, Jay.
He's ubiquitous as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he's learned from you. All right, Frank, good night.
Thank you.
So let me talk about the mayor. If you let me, I'll make a deal with you. If you let me speak.
I haven't said a word to you.
No. But I have enough experience in this racket to know who's going to interrupt me and start yelling at me and make me angry.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk it over peacefully, will you commit yourself to that?
Yes.
Will you? Okay.
Yes, I will.
You come on the air and say, you declared me rude, and what was the other word?
Disrespectful.
Disrespectful. All right, I will tell you this.
The attitude of a punk.
There you go again. You see? You didn't live up to the agreement. You called me a punk. You called me rude. You called me disrespectful. Have I insulted you? Have I?
Well, maybe you will at a later time.
Did your mother raise you to be rude to people gratuitously? Why does it hurt you emotionally that you call me rude to the mayor? I'm not disrespectful in particular. I'm disrespectful of his behavior. I have no respect for his behavior.
I doubt if he respects you either.
Well, he's not. I haven't run for office.
Well, why don't you?
I don't owe the people of New York anything.
Why don't you have him on the air? If you
I've invited him. He doesn't think this is an important enough forum to show up.
He knows you're a scumbag.
You know, my grandmother was a very wise woman. And her admonition to me now, if she were alive, I'm carrying her around in my pocket. I can almost see her now. And her admonition to me would be, you take it from whom it comes. And I try to remember that. And you know something? 100 out of 100 times, if I remember that, I'm okay. Because you heard whom that was coming from. Now, this was the guy who promised that he would let me talk. And remember, I said, well, I have enough experience in this racket to know who's going to go crazy. Well, I'm not rude. I've never been rude to anybody in my life. I have a temper, and I'm an emotional man. But I'm never deliberately or gratuitously rude to anybody without being provoked first. I can be abrasive if somebody rubs me the wrong way. But I have a heart, and I also have a brain, a much better brain than that guy who just called me, and he's jealous of me. Disrespectful to the mayor. Who is the mayor? He got elected. He's got a job. He can be knocked off and thrown out. And I hope he is thrown out in the next election. But I don't owe him any respect. I owe people respect when they command that respect for a number of reasons. By virtue of their intellect, by virtue of their good heart, their good nature, their industry, their hard work, their desire to help people, their acceptance of responsibility, their valor, bravery, stalwart attitude. Then I respect people. If they have great talent, I respect them. But I don't respect people who seek out a responsibility and then don't live up to it. I don't respect people who assert that they're going to do A and instead do B. I'm going to be the toughest mayor on crime. And then proceed to do in their actions precisely the opposite. Coddle criminals and encourage a criminal attitude by not coming down hard on people that violate the law, the rights and the health and the property and the very lives of other people. I don't owe this guy who just called me any kind of an explanation at all. He isn't worthy of it. But I want you, the people who are listening to me, to understand exactly why I say what I say and why I feel what I feel. When I talk, it's honestly from my heart. And I'm intuitive enough to know most of the time, there are exceptions when my intuition fails me. But it's an old and trusted friend, my intuition is. For a long time, I didn't realize how worthwhile it was, how accurate it was. And now I'm like an Indian. I have my ear to the ground. I'm almost like an animal. I can sense who's a friend and who's an enemy. And I knew this guy for what he was. And I said, well, look, let's make an agreement. He said, well, I have an interest. I said, yeah, but I know you will. You'll go crazy. And he did go crazy. And he calls me a punk. But he's welcome to call me whatever he wants, and I'll tell you why. For the same reason that I have every right to disrespect the mayor based on his behavior. Because I'm here in front of this microphone, and part of this job is to take the heat and get called names and take the guff of even stupid people, of even very primitive people. That goes along with having this job. Because in certain other aspects, in other realms of this activity, it's a very desirable position to have. A lot of people would like to be where I am, and I realize that. But nothing is all candy and cake. Sometimes there's a little acid as well. And I understand it. And I'm not so concerned that he insults me, but there's a lot of good people, well-intentioned people, who have the public good at heart, the common weal at heart, who criticize the mayor and various other politicians, and they don't deserve to be disparaged the way this man disparaged me. Now, what I want to ask about this guy is, I've been critical of the governor, I've been critical of Abby Hoffman. How come you do this? I want to ask this guy, he hung up, but I'd like to ask him this question. How come you seem to have a very, very strong emotional tie from a place deep down within you to what you regard as my disrespect for the mayor, my rudeness to the mayor? And I don't think if you're objective about it, you could say that I'm rude. You could say that I don't admire him, that I'm highly critical of him. But I don't think there are many people that would call me outright rude. But my question to you is, I might want to examine yourself. Why is it, Mr. whatever your name was, you weren't that memorable, but why is it that you have this very adhesive, emotional bond with David Dinkins? You feel the most minor offense that he suffers, you feel it in your own body. Why do you have that strong, glutinous empathy for this one man? How come you didn't call me and defend the other people that I have criticized, the other people that I've knocked, the other people that I've, what you would call, disrespect? I love these. Some people are so hung up on respect. They're obsessed with getting respect from other people. What is it about some people that they have to have respect? You don't respect me. I want respect. Why? Is it that you feel you don't deserve any? Is it that you feel you don't merit any for real, but you want the cosmetic show of respect? It's a sop to your ego? What do you think gets you respect? Acting like a big shot? Showing off? Does that get you respect? How come you didn't call up and how come you weren't so offended? Jay, you've been disrespectful to the memory of the late, great Abby Hoffman. How come that you don't even probably feel that at all? I've made fun of the governor. I've sat here with Bob Grant and practically carved him up. How come you didn't complain about that? What is the difference between David Dinkins and the others that you feel for him and not for the other people that I've criticized and ridiculed? Can you explain that to me? I'm at a loss. I'm sure it's for a very noble reason. I'm sure you're a fair-minded man who feels for all humanity. But I'm still puzzled. Does anybody in the audience know? Can somebody enlighten me? I don't want to be here in the dark and not be able to visualize this guy's emotional life. I really want to understand it. Let me say hello to Ernest. Hello, Ernest. How do you do? Jay Diamond here on WABC.
Yeah, how you doing? This is Ernest. I just want to ask a question. What is with the parking bureau's violation in the sheriff's department? What kind of commodity do they have together there?
This is the perfect call to follow up what I was just talking about. But even so, I'll try to answer you as best I can, which is not too well because I...
Can I just say one thing first?
Yeah.
Okay, on Wednesday, they towed my car.
Who, the sheriff?
Yeah, the sheriff. I went to the parking bureau's violation, Bureau of Parking Violations, and I had a hearing, and what it was, I sold a car back in 86, 87, and the car had a bad rear end on it. So the kid wanted to buy the car. And in the state
I've known a few of those.
Yeah, in the state of New York, if you take the plates and stickers off a car, the sanitation comes along, they crush it, and they take the car away. I left the plates on the car and the sticker. Well, the kid did me a wrong, He didn't turn the plates in because I had moved during that time.
Yeah.
And in the process, I'm quite sure anybody with any sense, which we got a lot of people in City Hall that don't have any, that they gave me, they towed my car, I went over there, they gave me a printout where I owe the city of New York $9,624.72 in parking and tickets. And these are tickets consecutive. It go right down the line. At least 3 tickets a day.
Where did you leave the car?
It was parked. The kid moved the car.
And the plates were still on?
The plates were still on.
Because you didn't want it crushed?
Right, because the kid paid me the money. During my process of moving, papers get lost and stuff, And this is what happened. I explained it to this judge, administrative judge, and he says, well, he's going to reduce some. He reduced it, all right. I still got to wind up paying about $4,000, $5,000, What is with this city, you know? I kind of agree with you. The mayor, he came in there and kept the same damn crooks he had in there when it was in there when he got there.
There's nothing you can do about that? You've got to pay $4,500 for that stupid car?
I called everybody. The only thing I got was help from one lady at the motor vehicles department, and she told me to come over there and get an F17 or... Well, let me...
Where do you live?
I live in the Bronx.
Do you know your city councilman?
No.
Well, find
Engelman,
out.
I think his name.
Find out who he is, and I think the best thing. I don't see any reason why you should have to pay $4,000 because some guy parked your car in the wrong place while it was being repaired. That's happened to me, by the way.
Yeah, they said it was my responsibility to turn the plates in, and all this. They gave me a long song and a dance. During that time, I've been back in the service and back over in Europe. I've been to the Gulf. I'm a Vietnam vet. You come back to home.
Did we get it? You can't say that on the radio, for heaven's sake. Sorry. I know you're upset, but you gotta...
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll tell you this. You speak from the heart. That's why you said what you said.
No.
And I can understand it. You're not a phony.
This country. I'm decorated from top to bottom.
All right, listen to me carefully.
Okay.
You're right. Believe me, I feel for you.
Then you get a crook like Dinkins in there.
What you should do, this particular case, I don't know if you can blame on him. It's a
He's got the same crooks, and he just took the job. He didn't change the administration at all.
It's a labyrinthine deal. You go to these people, the civil service people are entrenched. But if I were you, I'd put on some of those medals you won, and I'm not kidding you.
Mm-hmm.
I would go down and see your city councilman. If he won't help you out, I'd go see your state assemblyman. But I would see a politician about this, because you know what? If for no other reason, then they can make some grist out of it for their own good.
Right.
There's nothing a politician would like better than to be arm in arm with a guy with your credentials, this Vietnam vet who gets loused up by the system and the bureaucracy.
A Gulf War vet.
All right, but listen to me carefully. I'm giving you some decent advice.
Right.
You have to make it advantageous to a politician to help you out. And you can do that because people are sympathetic to a person with your credentials. So can't you see yourself in the paper? City councilman saves Gulf War hero $4,000 from corrupt city bureaucracy. Irons out misunderstanding in 24 hours after 6 months of agony. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
So you are a potential publicity boon for a politician. And if I were you, that's what I would do.
Okay.
I don't know if it's good advice, but you haven't tried it yet, and it doesn't seem to me you have anything to lose.
I don't have nothing to lose. I can save myself $4,000 that my kid and wife can use, which she's deaf and he's an asthmatic, and half his equipment's in the car. His nebulizer, I have to go up to the hospital in the morning and get him another one.
Well, his health is the most important thing.
No.
Ernest, I appreciate the call. I wish I could be of more specific help.
I appreciate that. At least I didn't know anything about the councilman.
But I would do that.
Assemblyman.
I would try to see them, and maybe they can pull a few strings for you. If anybody deserves it, you do, because I do think you got a raw deal.
That's the city councilman and...
Yeah, find out who your city councilman is and find out who your state, your assemblyman is, and maybe they can help you out.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot.
And I would really push it. I wouldn't give up on it.
No, I'm not. Because it's costing me $5 a day storage plus all...
No, that's terrible. You're a good guy, and that shouldn't be happening. See what you can do, and call me back and let me know how it works out.
Okay, will do, Jay.
All right, thanks very much. I appreciate it. Let me say hello now to Light. Hello, Light.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
Mr. Diamond.
Mr. Light.
How you feel?
Not bad. Haven't heard from you in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Speak up.
Okay. I want to talk about the Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
And Minister Farrakhan, who I deeply love and honor, and Hilly, who I hope is listening, who I deeply honor, too. And I'm not going to say you disrespect. You're the host. I mean, you have your opinion. You should say what you feel.
Well, I don't understand something. Why am I under an obligation to respect everybody you respect?
No.
Yeah, people call me up. You disrespect him.
Yeah.
So what?
I agree. That's not right.
Tell me, do you respect everybody?
No, sir.
All right. So why do I have to?
No, you don't. I'm saying as a host, that's your job.
It's not only as a host, as a man.
But
as a man, I have a value system. There are things that I admire in life and value in life. There are other things that I admire less, and there are some that I admire not at all. But we are all human beings, and we all have our own will, and we make these decisions on our own. I don't think it's anybody's place for me to call me up and complain that I don't respect somebody enough because that person isn't me, doesn't have my value system.
You're 100% correct. I would like to say something else about this guy Greg from the Bronx, who's supposed to be a paid rebel rouser. You let this guy off the hook. I mean, he got to come clean. He don't even say who's paying him, and you put him on like he's some kind of hero.
He doesn't do it anymore. I don't put him on as if he's a hero. I talk to him because I rather like him and find him entertaining. I find him amusing and a likable person with good insights into life. That's why I put him on. I don't say here is a great hero.
But I don't believe, and I don't think many of the African Americans who listen to this program believe that he is paid by anyone. He is paid. All he pays
I think
is
you're I think you're doing the right thing. I always caution people to remember that anybody can call a radio station and say anything, even Mike Light. And on WABC, this is Jay Diamond advising everybody that I will be back after the 11 o'clock network news and hopefully speak to a lot of people. Do you know the letters, the phone calls, the rancorous acrimony that I get from people because I put you on here?
Absolutely.
You do understand?
Sure. They used to talk about Adam Clayton Powell the same way.
Do you
used to talk about Paul Robeson the same way.
Tell me.
They used to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King the same way.
They
used to talk about Malcolm X the same way. Go ahead.
Hilly, do you realize that I own the record "Keep the Faith, Baby"?
That's good.
Do you have that record?
No, I don't.
I have that LP.
I recommend a book to you.
How many black people in this audience have the record "Keep the Faith, Baby"? Did you even know there was such an LP?
No, I didn't.
See that?
No, I didn't. But I have a book I'd recommend to you. 2 books.
Would you like me to bring it in some night and play a cut?
Oh, I'd love to.
Keep the Faith, Baby?
I'd love to hear that.
You'll hear Adam speak?
Yep. I know him personally, fortunately.
He addresses the people from Bimini. Remember his island retreat?
When he was dying of cancer.
Who was the federal judge that got him in hot water?
I've forgotten. I did know.
Didn't he call some federal judge a bag lady?
No, she wasn't a federal judge. No, she was a police informant, Esther something or other.
And he called her a bag lady?
Yep.
And why did that get him in a jam?
It got him in the jam because he was getting too close to the presidency, and they used any excuse. And what he did, he would
have been elected president?
Most of the things, no, he was close. He was third in line if the president died.
I see.
All right, but let me get to what I called about. You see, the biggest critics of police.
Yeah, but Adam was very Caucasian looking.
So what?
I mean, he really.
So was Walter White.
Do you know that he went to Colgate University?
And passed.
That's right. How do you know that?
Because I know about Adam.
That's right. He went to Colgate University. They didn't know he was black.
Well, now, why would he want to pass?
I don't know.
Because at that time, being black in a place like that, and in parts of this country, was pure hell. That's why. Unlike
now, where you concede, it's okay.
Well, I concede what's okay.
Never mind.
Okay. Let's talk about the police and your, what I consider, revisionist, idealistic.
In other words, there are some people who say it's horrible to be black even at this time.
Some people?
And you have just said at that time it was horrible to be black, meaning that now there's no problem with being black.
No, that's your interpretation. Times change and problems change. They just manifest themselves in a different way. I'm not saying that living as a black today it all depends on who you are and your station in life. When a Wesley Snipes or a Danny Glover can be stopped, okay, and spread-eagled and abused by the police, it's only because they're black. When a black policeman with a gun...
please, you're whining and whining.
But you asked me, and I'm telling you. But let me say this to you. The biggest detractors of police are the policemen themselves.
It's not been my experience, Hilly.
Well, they're called the guardians. Oh. They're called the guardians. But they live the life. They get shot at. Yeah, you laugh. You laugh. You laugh because they're all damn fools. They don't have any point.
I think you're exaggerating.
You do?
I don't think the guardians are the biggest detractors of police.
Oh, you don't listen to them.
I think they have some criticisms, but I don't think that they are the biggest detractors.
They talk from personal experience about the racism that they live with every day in the police department. And I cite you, Roger Abro. I cite any number of them you can get on and talk to them.
How about in Newark, where the incidents are not so frequently racial, but nonetheless the incidents happen between perps and police, even when both are black. And the charge there, of course, the absent racism, they go to police brutality. You know, there have been a few publicized cases in the last
Sure.
couple of years in Newark.
Well-
One guy videotaped a black cop pushing a woman around, and another. Then when they chased the kids stealing cars, the black cops shot, and they
Right.
were complaining about that.
Right, right.
So
And after
if
Rodney-
that, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
If those had been white cops doing the same thing black cops did, they would be categorized as racists. But the black cops do it. You can't call them racist. Maybe there's something other than racism functioning here.
Well, yes. Like when a guy has a traffic infraction, and the white cops beat him to death. That's not brutality. That's not racism. It only happens to black people. Does not happen to white people. And isn't it interesting? The only police that are shot by police are black cops. Not because necessarily of racism. At least not overt racism, but they see a black guy with a gun, automatically he's got to be a criminal.
Well,
So
I have
bang, bang,
I have a
bang.
question.
Sure.
In their experience as policemen,
Uh-huh.
and being as objective as you can,
As I try to be.
do you think most of the black men with guns they come across, are they cops or perps?
Most of the men, they're trained, but
What's
they're
that?
trained. They're supposed to know.
Answer my
supposed
you
to
didn't
know.
answer my question.
What?
Is it so? Is it
most
so?
of the people that they come across, white or black.
Is it? I mean, but if you were a policeman, you would probably concede that the average policeman, white or black, comes across a few black men with guns who mean them harm.
So you shoot first and ask questions later.
No. Wait a minute.
Okay.
How would you shoot first and ask questions later?
Not if I'm a trained officer,
If
no.
you were facing a man with a gun pointing it at you,
Hold it. The guy they shot recently wasn't pointing at them.
he
they
turned.
were so close
Listen
to
to
him.
me. He turned around by mistake. He didn't follow the correct
Oh,
procedure.
he turned around by
I
the
read
other cop
every.
could say, Barbara, it's me.
Listen
They
to
couldn't
me.
tell him to drop the
Listen to
gun.
me.
Oh.
If you were in a situation yourself, and the man in 1/2 a second turned around and pointed that gun at you, not realizing what he was doing, would you wait to see whether he was friend or foe, or would you have to assume he was a foe?
Never having been in that position, I can't honestly say.
Hilly, I bid you a very fond good night, and I want to say hello to Stuart on WABC.
Hello, Jay.
I don't like BS, even when it's from such a personage as Hilly. Hello, Hilly. Stuart.
How you doing, Jay?
How do you do?
I enjoy your show, and I just like to say that your imitations are great. But I called for two reasons. On page 6 of the Post, I think Leonard Cohen is a dead ringer for Dustin Hoffman, or if that's a mistake. I don't know.
Not who I had in mind.
It depends on how you look at it.
He looks much more like someone else.
Like Reagan?
Well, yes.
Yeah,
that's
see,
right.
I thought that too, but it depends on the way you look at the picture. But I don't know, that's weird.
Well, he looks like R.R.
Ronnie.
All right.
But I'd just like to say, the other day, I was listening to your show, and a man from the black community called up, and he gave a speech. I was cheering, because what he said was, he said this statement about, well, if I want justice in the white community, there's got to be justice in my community. You know, I've got to condemn all the people who commit crime in my community if I'm going to get them. Do you remember that fellow? You said you were going to actually call him up for a pound.
Yes.
I mean, if there were more people like that, I don't think there would be a problem with racism at all. I really don't. There might be a few bad apples, but if there were more people like that, there wouldn't be this division, you know?
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate the call. I really do, and I like your second guess. You were right. So it looked like Reagan to you, too.
Yeah, it does,
But more like Hoffman? No, I think more
around the nose.
No, the mouth and the lines around the mouth are pure RR.
Well, if he ages, if another 10 years, it'll...
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I forgot to tell my story about the belt. So I'll get to it in a few minutes. I'm going to make a note to myself right now. I have to tell the story about the belt, because I never finished that story, other than to tell you that I've expanded so much that I need a belt 4 inches large. It's amazing how you can go 4 inches, and that's crazy. Anyway, by the way, but the thing that bothered me about what Hilly said was, can you imagine a guy not conceding that he would shoot to protect himself in a dark alley with a guy turning to him with a gun? Hilly, what would you do? Hand him a questionnaire? Take his blood pressure? Ask him if he's your friend or your foe. How many people with a gun in your hand, and the guy is holding a woman down, by the way, turns around with the gun and faces you? That's not to be cruel to the man who got shot. Everybody feels for him. But life is hard. You have to make real, instantaneous decisions, and your life is on the line. Have a heart. Let me say hello to Mary Ann. Mary Ann, Jay Diamond here on WABC.
Good evening, Mr. Diamond. It's so nice to talk with you.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
First of all, he does look Ron Reagan.
Doesn't he look just
exactly like him?
That's what I thought.
Exactly. I was hoping against hope I'd be the first to tell you.
I wanted you to be too.
Now, question on Hilly. Why is he so against the police? What kind of a state would we have?
Maybe Hilly has something to fear from the police.
I don't know.
I can only speculate, but he seems to have a bias against the police.
It's odd, because what kind of a country or a state would we have without that protection? Black or white, Asiatic, whatever.
Well, I can tell you one thing that would happen immediately if all the police were to disappear in 10 minutes.
My God.
I'll tell you what could happen. All the people who traditionally find the police an impediment to what they want to do to you and to me would have free rein. All the people that want to harm you and harm me would be able to do so without anybody getting in their way. So presumably those are the people who don't like the police.
That is true. I could never turn my back on any policeman, ever, black or white. In fact, for what it would do any good for Hilly, 2 black policemen saved my life, and I was so proud of them.
Well, as Hilly would write that off, he'd say everybody makes a mistake now and then.
Right. And I'm an Italian-American, and I'm very proud whether they're black or white.
That's
and
right,
I dial
because
911, they're here.
They're black and they're white, but they're all blue.
And they deserve praise, every one of them. And as you have often said, we're not all perfect. So therefore, if one does go astray, we pray for him.
Where do you live, Mariana?
I live in Valley Stream.
Well, it must be a wonderful place because you live there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. God bless.
And I commend you on the keen sight of your eyes.
Thank you, sir.
And being able to make out the face of Ronald Reagan.
I knew instantly it was he.
Did you notice that before?
Instantly, as soon as you said turn to page 6.
Okay.
And you know what?
What?
Let me tell you, you have much to be proud of that you have such a love for Mr. Grant. He is as true blue as the American flag.
You're cute. Thank you.
Oh, he is wonderful.
Thank you, Marianne.
Okay. Stay cool.
Will do.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So anyway, I'm in the store. I'm in Brooks Brothers, and I'm trying to get to the belt rack, but I can't do it because there's this very thin man, very, very thin, and his pants are falling down because he's holding his belt weathered and beaten up, tattered in his left hand, and he's wearing these jeans that are about 4 sizes too big. And he was not filling out those jeans, and the jeans, therefore, were falling down on him and baggy, and he kept trying on one belt after the next. I am telling you, it was my luck, and I got mad. I'm standing there in the store expecting to go over and pick out my belt, but he was so skeevy, this guy, and he was taking every belt, one after the other, and putting them through the loops. And his pants were falling down so much in the middle of Brooks Brothers that you could see that, well, I don't want to tell you what you could see, but you can imagine. In the middle of Brooks Brothers, a classy place. Every belt he took and put on those moth-eaten pants of his. So disgusted was I that I just couldn't buy the belts anymore after he had touched and tried on every one. But why a man would try on 12 belts, all size 28, I can't remember. I can't figure out. One after the other with the same size. And I had to stand there for 35 minutes until I said, oh, to heck with this. So let me say hello to Bob on WABC. Hello, Bob. Jay Diamond here.
Jay, how are you? Happy Thanksgiving to you.
I'm a little tired, a little weary, but holding up.
I tried to get you yesterday during the day, but I couldn't hold on. The turkey showed up, and I was carving. So I wanted to talk to you about the incident that you had with this almost a near hit and run, a near miss.
Oh, the other day, yeah.
Yeah, you talked about it in your monologue yesterday. If you need that guy's non-pub number, I'll run it for you.
You will?
Just fax me the stuff.
Oh, terrific. Why? Well, I'm going to need your phone number for that. We'll do that off the air.
I faxed you my brochure a few weeks ago. I'm the private investigator. I called you a few weeks ago.
You faxed me. I never got it.
You never got it?
Never. Faxing is not reliable in an organization. A friend of mine asked me that today. He said, I asked him to send something to somebody. And I said, why don't you put this in an envelope, make a photocopy of this thing, put it in an envelope and send it to this person. I think that would be a good idea to do. And he said, well, I'll fax it to him. I said, look, you're talking about a big organization, maybe a couple of hundred people are around. There's one lousy fax machine. It piles up there 3 feet high, and after it gets to 3 feet, what do you think they do with it? They dump it. Of course.
Somebody's got my brochure. Anyway.
Well, who knows? But if you were to mail it to me.
All right.
Or if you were to fax it right now.
I'm not in the office. Can't do it. Are you going to be on the air tomorrow during the day?
I bet it's not enough that I've been on 32 hours in 1 week. This guy wants me to do Saturdays, too.
Oh, tomorrow's Saturday. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Listen, Bob. Why don't we do this? Why don't you give your number to Vernon after we're concluding our business here? Can you do that?
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, I don't want to compromise you. And you can get me that non-pub number?
A couple of days, I'll have it for you.
Oh.
Anything else you want?
This is by the way, can you do long-distance surveillance work? We got something to talk about.
I do have to disagree with you on the vanity plate thing. I think a vanity plate, if you just get a portion of it, is much easier to trace than if you just get a portion of ABC 1, 2, 3.
But wait a minute. Now, of this I was ignorant. Look, because I'll tell you why. I know if you want to run the name on the MVB computer, you need 5 letters of the last name and a birthday. But for the plate, I understood that you needed the whole plate.
Well, if you're tied into the computerized system, yes. But if you're dealing with the police department and you're sitting in Albany on the system, you can do a wildcard search.
Oh, you mean you can't get that with the modem?
No, you can't, unfortunately. You probably could, but you'll have to pay for each screen, and you only get 5 records on each screen, and you'll run out of money.
I see how it works. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah, that's right.
But in general, a vanity plate would be much easier to trace if you only had a portion.
But wait, a vanity plate, why?
Well, if you have a regular plate of ABC 1, 2, 3, and you only get ABC,
right?
Well, you have 1,000 combinations of ABC.
Okay.
Where if you have a vanity plate, which is Harry G, and you get HAR.
But you're making an assumption that the vanity plate will have a meaning. Harry G.
Well, even if it's XQR ABC, how many could there be starting with XQR?
Well, that occurred to me. But he told me he couldn't do it. Well, I guess he was unwilling to go through 5, permutations of 5. But as it happened, I happen to remember all 8 letters.
That was good.
You see, not only that, I got the description of the car. He couldn't believe it. And I then got he plugged it right in. When I got upstairs, I called him, and he got the thing for me immediately.
Did you run the guy's license to see if he was a suspended driver, too?
Yes, it absolutely was suspended. He was driving it. The registration was suspended. The license I couldn't run because, he could have run the license.
Yeah, he could.
But there was a guy behind the wheel, and the car was registered to a woman.
Oh, I see.
You see?
Yeah.
So, but I will tell you that the registration the car was in suspension. The vehicle was unregistered.
Right, I remember you saying that.
And in addition, it was uninsured. His insurance was suspended, as well as the registration. So I would like to turn. Now, what's the best way to turn a guy like that in?
Call the precinct where it occurred.
That simple?
Yeah. Give him the information. Give him a statement.
Okay.
I don't know what'll happen in New York City. Whether they'll just put it at the bottom of the pile because, hey, we got 14 homicides.
Well, that's what my pal told me would happen. Bob, are you a detective?
Private detective.
Yeah, did I speak to you before?
Oh, a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember.
I was on the road. I was coming back from a job.
I remember our discussion.
Yeah.
No, I still have it. I remember. You left me. I have the information somewhere, but leave me the number, and I will call you. Are you going to be around tomorrow or Sunday?
I'll give you my home number.
Okay. Why don't you give me the home and office?
I will.
Will you do that?
Yes.
All right.
And I wonder if Hilly confronts the perpetrator with the pistol, maybe he'll have a peace summit with him.
Yeah, I mean, did you believe his answer to that?
Not at all.
I mean, who in their right mind?
It's absurd.
Yeah, it is absurd.
Yeah.
And you sound like a serious man, a man to be taken seriously, Bob.
At times, yeah.
Okay.
Nice talking to you, Jay. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Same here, Bob. Bob, I appreciate that offer. I'm definitely going to be in touch with you within the next few days.
Great.
So here is Vernon right now.
Okay, Jay.
And I'm going to go on to... Thanks for the call.
Bye-bye.
Take care. I'll speak to you soon. And now I want to talk to Jim. Hello, Jim. You're on WABC.
Hello, Jay.
Hi.
You're talking about how stupidity is growing in New York. I mean, after listening to Hilly, I think that that's a pretty good example. He was praising a Stalinist hack like Robeson, who said that all of Stalin's opponents deserved to be shot. And then you had the other moron from an intellectual slum, Abdullah, who was saying that the pyramids weren't filled with slave labor. So I guess the Jews weren't slaves in ancient Egypt, and I guess wonder what Exodus is all about.
Well, I think Abdullah was half in jest. I don't think he even intends you to take him seriously.
Yeah.
You heard him giggling at the end.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what he does is a put-on. And Hilly may be putting himself on. I would say that would be a very generous assessment.
Oh, definitely.
Now, many people do put themselves on. Some people can live for their whole lives actually thinking they believe one thing and not believing it. But people can delude themselves very easily, and that's very dangerous.
Well, anyway, I tried to call you this afternoon, and as usual, you were 100% correct with your analysis of the man you show no respect, to paraphrase a previous caller from the other hour. The Korean boycott, his dishonor did not wait 3 days to do nothing. He waited 6 months before he finally did anything. And then he did exactly what he did with Crown Heights. He appointed a commission headed by one of his cronies, Laura Blackburn, the crook. And, of course, we had the usual whitewash, that the mayor, of course, was not to blame for anything, but that the police and Joe Hines were to blame.
Well, the worst Quisling, the worst traitor, is Ray Kelly, the police commissioner, who 12 days after he got the job came out with a report absolving the mayor of any complicity, of any responsibility for Crown Heights. That's already been forgotten, but Ray Kelly was the guy who originally put Dinkins in the clear. It's quite obvious to me why he was given the job. Thank you very much.
That was part of the deal.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Appreciate the call. Let me say hello to Renee right over here on WABC. Hello, Renee. This is Jay Diamond.
Hi, Mr. Diamond.
How do you do, Mrs. Renee?
Wonderful to speak with you. I can't believe this. This is exciting.
Well, I think there's many more exciting things in life than speaking with me, particularly on a night when my energy level is slightly to the south of Tinkerbell.
Well, I'll tell you, I really appreciate what you're doing, and I know how much hard work you're putting in, and I do. I'm very grateful for you, sir. You thrill me.
Oh, really?
You do. You thrill me. Especially with your command of the English language.
Wow.
I'm enthrilled by you.
Thrilled. Them's fighting words. I might have to crawl through this phone and do something about those thrills that you feel.
Well, I think we better be safe and go on to the reason for my call.
Careful now.
I'm in a little dilemma. I need your help.
Anything I can do, madam.
Around the time that you were talking about a rally of some sort for the police, in praise of the police.
Yeah.
I became involved in a discussion with someone. They have some, I don't know, he has some kind of deep-rooted hatred or bitterness or what have you for the police. I don't know why. I think it's due to some kind of incident that he had in his past. But I agree with you 100% that the police have to be held in high regard and utmost respect I have for them with the risk that they take. He's not of the same mind. And I was wondering if you could provide me with some type of argument, some kind of ammunition to use against this. This is really, he harps on this constantly, that I'm pro-police and he's not. And my only argument is that we need them for protection and security. And I can't really go any further than that. And his argument
when
is that...
we come back from the news, and you are going to wait for me...
Absolutely.
And I will thrill you even more with the answer that I impart to you.
Okay.
So wait where you are.
I will.
That my favorite movie is Shane. I love that movie, Shane. You like it, too. When Alan Ladd stares him right down, he says, "You talking to me? You talking to me?" I remember the guy's name, who he says that. We have Renee from Edison on the line, and I was about to thrill her even more. Because Renee has a friend whom she engages in argument consistently.
Yes.
And who is this gentleman?
He's just a friend who constantly persists in this whole bitterness towards the police thing, and I'm tired of it.
Would you refer to him as an intimate friend?
Not exactly. I suppose.
Approximate?
That's a little difficult to say. I don't know if you want to get into that whole thing.
Well, I do for this reason.
Yes.
Because my ultimate advice to you would be my question would be, why do you keep seeking out the attentions of this individual with whom you have these arguments? And the only reason would be that you have an attachment to him on a deeper level.
It's a friendship that has progressed over many years that I'm not ready to throw away yet. But if he keeps harping on this, I'm going to. I can't take it anymore. I don't know why it's on his mind so much, quite frankly. But it really is, and it's troubled me so much that I'm calling you. And believe me, this is a big feat here because I'm so nervous. My heart's pounding. I'm about to throw up.
You're about to throw up?
Yeah, this is a big thing for me. Calling a radio show.
You wouldn't want to throw up because then I'd have to tell people that this lady was so repulsed by me on the air that she threw up.
That even came out wrong. See, I'm not even coherent. My message isn't even coherent.
Steady. Well,
okay.
let's analyze. I really cannot. The only advice I can give you, the bottom line is that we just have to recognize sometimes in life that there are certain people whose minds we cannot change. And many women, you wouldn't be the first woman to link up with a man that she thought she could change, that she thought she could have an effect on, only to learn that she can never do that.
Well,
but I won't try. Let me go on.
Okay.
There are so many people that I speak with who are intractable because you're making I think the misassumption that if you can only persuade him with a logical argument, if you could get Clarence Darrow to teach you to say the right thing, of course this man would fall under the weight of your compelling logic.
Right.
But people don't respond that way because when they are fanatical about anything, it's an emotional response. It is not subject to the intrusion of reason and logic.
I like that.
You understand what I'm saying?
I sure do. I really do.
So
but I wouldn't say that he's fanatical about this.
No, but I don't think, my impression is, just my vibes tell me, you're not going to change his mind. You might think that you can tell him the right words, and he'll say, gee, Renee, that makes so much sense. It's amazing that for the previous 46 years of my life... How old is he?
28.
Oh, for the previous 28 years of my life, I can now not conceive of how I could not have agreed with you. But I don't think there are any magical words or thoughts or compelling logic that will have a sway on him. What does he say to you, anyway?
Well, yeah, he basically, the few rotten apples that there are on the police force, that's what he's harping on. And the fact that there is brutality. He was watching some kind of documentary that was playing on how the police really do brutalize people, and it is going on, and we should recognize this and know that this is going on and not be so blinded. And that's his main argument, that there is so much brutality going on, and how can I excuse this, and how could I be so for the police when this kind of thing is going on, and the police do seem to take advantage sometimes of their positions as policemen. And for that, I don't have an answer, because there are some that do take advantage of that. And I don't know, that's I'm sure not the majority, but if it is the minority, it's still there.
Let's explore it.
Okay.
The nature of police work is not similar to social work. In some aspects it is. I'm wrong. But the bottom line in police work is that they will have to interject themselves into a situation where a bad person is trying to do a bad thing to you. Bad people don't normally respond to reasonable arguments. Oh, Mr. Nice murderer, you shouldn't really take that knife and carve up that woman, because that isn't at all a nice thing to do. 9 out of 10 murderers are not going to respond to that very persuasive, coherent logic.
Right.
Are they?
No.
Okay, but there are many naive people who think that murderers, if only you reasoned with them, of course but we have to reason together. We'll have a conference, and we'll come out of it, and everybody will see eye to eye. Doesn't work that way. There are very bad people who are motivated by demons deep within their mind.
Right.
And read your New York Times today about what's happening in Serbia, in Bosnia, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Read what a man is capable of doing. Shooting children, cutting throats, raping 3 women, one after the other, and shooting them in the back when he's had his way with them. There is a lot of evil in the world, and you have to stand up to that evil sometimes with brute force.
Right.
And the people whose job it is to stand up to bad people by putting brute force in the way of the bad person in you. The bad person has you in his sights. Only one thing is going to stop him: brute force. You can try to talk him out of it. Oftentimes a policeman will.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is, he is a policeman because he has offered his services. He has said, I will put myself between the killer and you if I have to do it, if that's what it takes. Like the bodyguard for the president agrees to take the bullet.
Yes.
They did that. They got in between Hinckley and the president. Remember?
Yes, oh yes.
So these are men who are offering up their very bodies and their lives to get in between the bad person, the evil spirit, and you. Sometimes, in doing that very necessary and very heroic work, it doesn't look pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an oil painting. It's not a landscape drawing. Are you with me?
Oh, I sure am, yes.
It doesn't look pretty.
Right.
But if it were not done,
oh, please, there would be...
you might be dead.
Right, exactly.
Now, you don't say there are bad police. You don't even have to apologize for the few so-called rotten apples.
Right.
Because there are bad people, some of whom become policemen, the way some bad people become broadcasters, the way some bad people become delicatessen men, the way some bad people become deep-sea divers, or teachers,
Okay.
or clergymen
Right.
who lie, who go out sleeping with prostitutes and tell other people to behave morally. There are no bad policemen. Listen to me carefully. You don't have to apologize to him.
Okay.
He's subverting you. He's twisting you around. There are bad people who become teachers, delicatessen men, broadcasters, scientists, doctors, lawyers, architects, etc., rock and roll singers, poets, etc., etc., etc. And sometimes bad people become policemen.
Right.
Now, if all the bad people in the world ended up becoming policemen, he would have something. But he can't. Why should the police force be exempt from human nature?
No, and it can't be.
Why don't you ask him that?
That's a very good point there.
So I don't want to hear about the few rotten apples, and they're always apologizing for the few rotten apples. No, there are no few rotten apples in the police force. There are just some rotten people in general, and occasionally some of them become cops too.
Right. Okay.
But the policeman's job is not to be a ballet dancer. He's not there to look pretty in a tutu and spin around on one toe.
No.
He's there to do a very gritty, dangerous, ugly, ultimately necessary job for civilization to continue. And he doesn't have to apologize if sometimes somebody gets a bloody nose. On the other hand, quite to the contrary, you and I and everybody else, including that stupid boyfriend, should thank him.
Okay. And I thank you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I do understand. You have given me something to tell him.
Good luck, Renee.
Thank you very much.
And my
sir.
ultimate advice for you is there's more than one fish in the sea, if you know what I mean. In fact,
do know what you mean.
I think you'd look very good on the arm of a nice policeman.
I think you may be right.
That's what, if I were you, I'd turn that guy over for a cop. That would really show him where to get off.
I'll try to find one.
All right.
Okay, Jay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Smiling faces that don't see me. That was good.
Very good. Very
you know
good.
what song that is?
Yes, sir.
As Tears Go By.
Yes, that's Mick Jagger.
I like that.
Yeah, well, Mick Jagger's a very good lyricist. Unfortunately, you can't make out the lyrics very often, but he is really an excellent lyricist.
Yeah, I like, you know something, I used to have those records and I gave them away. I got disgusted with them one day and I just threw them all out. And now I'd like to have them back.
Yeah, they might have some value.
Well, I'd like to listen. I do like As Tears Go By, and believe it or not, I liked some of the things the Stones did. That's a beautiful song. That's always been a haunting song to me. What's the other one? They do. I like You Can't Catch Me. I think they covered that.
Yeah.
And I also like, there was another slow number, another ballad they did.
A ballad.
Yeah.
Let me see, which one?
I can't think of it now, darn it. As Tears Go By was one of my favorites. And I can't remember. Also, I like the Jackson 5.
Yeah, I heard you mention that one
I
night.
love the Jackson.
You have them all recorded in your brain somewhere.
Do 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 do. I don't know what it is, but I go nuts when I hear that. I can't get it out of my mind for 100 years.
But I always figure like the Beatles would have reached you.
Yeah, I liked them okay. I had friends who were fanatical about them, but I like the Supremes.
Oh, sure.
I like this, and I like Sly and the Family Stone.
Well, you're picking out all the greats. I mean, they're all tremendous melody writers and.
Yeah, those
great
are the ones that I like.
Sure.
All right.
There's always quality out there. Even, believe it or not, even in the rap world, there's some intriguing records. Most of it is discordant and distasteful.
Hey, I'd like to do a rap album.
Can
you produce my rap album?
Sure, I'd take a shot at it.
Hey, let's do that. Maybe we can get together and do a rap album.
Well, we might be able to do a fun thing anyway.
What would my name be? Rapper JD?
Not bad. Give me a day or so to think about it. We'll come up with a few titles for you.
A name for me.
We'll start with the name.
That's it, right.
Okay.
My initials. How about, wait a minute. Wait, JD Pick.
JD Pick?
Yeah, because diamond is ice and ice needs a pick.
Okay.
JD Pick.
That's a beginning.
How's that?
That's a beginning.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
Bye-bye, Jay.
Have a good time in merry old England.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Bye.
We'll be here in gay old New York. On WABC, I'll say hello to Francis. Hello, Francis. Jay Diamond here.
Hi. Nice talking to you. Please bear with me. I'm kind of nervous.
Everybody's nervous.
Well, not used to talking on a phone. And besides, after having listened to Hilly, I'm ready to run to the John and throw up. Normally, I would turn to another station, but I was holding on the phone. I wanted to talk to you about...
That's really endearing you to me right off the bat.
I'm sorry. What can I tell you? No, I want to talk basically about the 3 days of rioting in Crown Heights. And the same thought came to me at the time of the L.A. riots. I mean, most of those rioters were Afro-American, all riled up after the car accident. I mean, how can you expect a mayor to send the police out after his own people? I think he was just hoping it would go away and he wouldn't have to make a decision.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because there are many black men, had they been mayor, who would have had no reservations about enforcing the law, and they would not have considered lawbreakers and destroyers to be their own people.
But this is Mayor Dinkins.
Do you think I relate to every white person?
No.
You think that if I see Jeffrey Dahmer, I couldn't enforce the law against him just because...
Yes, you could, and I could do it against my own people.
So Mayor Dinkins, it seems to me, it's reasonable to expect him to do the same thing.
But he didn't, therefore the blame goes to him.
You're convincing me?
No.
Believe me.
I'm just agreeing with you because my other thoughts were that, to go a step further, that if the police had been given orders, to go ahead, they really would have shot up the blacks and the whites, and then the city would have been burned to pieces. But I think his shrewd move basically was that if the police could not control themselves and went after and started the first aggressive action, he could come out and be a hero and blame it on the police and make them the scapegoats, as he usually does, and they're to be commended for having restraint and not doing anything without any orders.
All right.
I mean, that's the way I feel about it.
Thank you, Florence. Francis, I appreciate the call. I'm a little mush-mouthed tonight because I am, a little punchy. I was on this afternoon. It was very thrilling for me to be on the Bob Grant Show all week, and I don't want anybody to think that I didn't appreciate being there. I'm just a little tired now at the end of this week. I think that Mayor Dinkins' only hope, this is important, is to persuade people that there is no real alternative to what he does. That the alternative to what he does is a tremendous, huge, all-encompassing riot that will bring down society totally. So that if you don't have me here, if you think these little riots are horrible, boy, if there were someone else, why, the whole world would come to an end. See, that's what he wants you to believe. That if it weren't for him, it would be much, 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 much worse. Because the next person would be stronger, and the strength of the next mayor would antagonize the rabble, and the rabble would get meaner. Right now, if he accedes to their demands, and if he placates them and kowtows to them and bends over backwards to assuage their feelings, they will be good rabble. But boy, oh boy, if you get a mayor who really wants to get tough, well, they'll be very bad rabble. So your only alternative is to settle for good rabble. Actually, he's very wrong, because if a person came on the scene who asserted the righteous might of society against the rabble, you would be shocked at how quickly the rabble would behave themselves. We are on WABC. This is Grandmaster Rapper Jay. It just wasn't the one. I think the As Tears Go By is a good song, but there might be another one. I can't remember. But As Tears Go By might even be the one I think that I can't remember that I do.
Oh, okay. Well, if I think of another one, I'll call you.
Wait, what's the other one? Please allow me to introduce myself.
Oh, yes,
I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long time. Blah, 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 blah. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name.
Yes, about Satan. Yes. I like that one, too.
That's Sympathy for the Devil.
Yes, but the other one, you can't always get what you want. If you remember the movie The Big Chill.
Yeah, I didn't see it, though.
Oh.
Come on, you want me to pay $8 to go to a sleazy movie?
No, I get videos. I don't go to movies anymore.
$8 to have people talking in your ear and coughing on your neck, sneezing in your nose. Forget it.
I agree. I stopped going to movies a long time ago. I get everything on video now. Much easier. Much more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think so, too, but I don't know. I can't... You know, it's a funny thing. There is one better aspect to watching something in a theater or on television. I know this is going to sound nuts to you and to everybody else listening, but now with video, I can get any movie I want to see. Any other... Let's say it's an old Bing Crosby movie that I like.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't give me as much of a thrill unless I know a lot of other people have to watch it with me. In other words, if Channel 13 or Channel 5 used to play a Bing Crosby picture, We're Not Dressing, from 1934, or I can't even remember, Mississippi from 1935, or any picture, I say, oh, this is great. Now I know a lot of other people are going to be exposed to something I really like. And it gave me a deeper feeling of satisfaction. I enjoyed it on a more profound level, knowing that at the moment I was watching it, I would be able to feel, let's say particularly if it were late at night, if it were 1, 2, 3 in the morning, I felt a great unspoken kinship with everyone else in the city or in the suburbs that I felt might be watching this great movie that I love at the same time that I'm watching it. And I just can't get that same feeling if I throw a stupid cassette into a machine and it's humming alone in one pathetic little man's room.
And you're the only one watching it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Yeah. So I rather have these things on TV than watch them on videotape.
Oh, I have to thank you. You mentioned the movie a couple of weeks ago, Fanny, and you did this great imitation.
I love that.
A dog could do what you did.
That's
right. I love that. You know, I think I passed that movie up 1,000,000 times. Yeah. I figured I wasn't going to like it, and because you mentioned that I got it, I really enjoyed it.
What you did? You just gave me the greatest gift anybody could ever give. You went out and rented Fanny because I mentioned it?
Yes.
Wasn't it great?
I loved it.
I loved it. Don't you love Leslie Caron?
I love Leslie Caron and Charles Boyer and Maurice Chevalier together.
What a couple of troopers.
Especially Boyer.
He was terrific.
Yeah.
He's the one who said that to Horst Buchholz. A dog could do what you did.
Yes.
Oh, and how about Georgette Anise, who played her mother?
I think the heavy-set woman.
I think that was Georgette Anise. Oh, she also played the Mother Superior in Little Boy Lost with Bing Crosby in 1953. But
I'll have to get that movie now.
We're delving into esoterica here. But Fanny is a beautiful, beautiful picture. Isn't it wonderful?
Whatever happened to Horst Buchholz?
I don't know, but wasn't Chevalier great in that picture?
Oh, fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah, Panis.
I had a good feeling watching that movie.
I'm glad you liked it.
I did.
And I'm even happier that you told me about it.
Oh.
Thanks, Joe. You made my night.
Thanks a lot, Jay.
Thank you.
Good talking to you.
I appreciate it. Hope to hear from you soon.
You will.
You picked me right up.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. And let's say hello to Robert?
Yes, how you doing, Jay?
Pretty good.
I was listening to one of the black radio stations last week, and they were interviewing Louis Farrakhan. I found it very, very interesting. I mean, this is the first time I heard of him. And he's a very impressive, convincing speaker. I guess you're familiar with him.
I've seen him. He's never impressed me. I think he's nuts.
Well, no, I mean his talent, not his content. But he,
Please, I don't happen to share your opinion, but I'm not going to tell you not to. I don't think he's talented. You do, so go ahead.
Well, anyway...
But, I'm not going to. You and I obviously don't have the same taste.
Very good. He addressed the problem between blacks and Jews by... he gave several reasons why there's this friction.
I can tell you the reason.
Mm-hmm.
The problem between blacks and Jews is Louis Farrakhan.
Well,
he should have introduced himself to the audience and said, this is the problem between blacks and Jews.
I'd like to get your response.
In fact, this is the problem between me and the world, is what he should have said.
No, I'd like to get your response to what he had said. What he's saying, in essence, is that the blacks have reached a certain level of sophistication and savvy where they're no longer, they realize now that they've been exploited for years, and they're no longer going to take it. That was his first rationale. They also feel that the Jews are controlling the airways. They don't have equal access to the airways, and they feel that they're being subdued in that fashion. And thirdly, they're talking about the fact that...
Tell him I think he's right, and that it's never going to get better for him, and I think his only alternative is to go away.
Well, I mean...
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate the call.
You don't have a response to that, I guess.
I did give you the response.
But you feel that he's wrong there? I mean, it looks like he's right on that second point.
Carl, is there any way you can take me off the air so I can say to this guy what I really want to say to him?
Why don't you say
Robert?
What's the problem?
You piece of boot-licking white trash. I'd like to see you in person. I'd kick your lousy son of a... Hello, Joel. You're on WABC.
Yes, good evening. The actor you were talking about is...
And that's only half of it, you piece... go ahead.
The actor you were talking about actually was Jack Palance, who said that movie Shane to Alan Ladd, I believe.
How did it go? What was the line?
Gee, I really don't remember that, but I know it was him.
Yeah, who was it?
Jack Palance.
It says it to Shane?
Just says it to Shane, right.
What does he say? You talking to me?
Yes, basically that. And I just want to say that in New York City, a lot of people give credit to certain actors who were born here, like Jerry Lewis, I believe, one time lived in New York City, or this one or that one, Barbara Stanwyck. But no one ever mentions the fact that it was the Three Stooges who actually lived in Brooklyn also. And as far as I'm concerned, the greatest single comedian was not Charlie Chaplin or Jerry Lewis or this one or that one.
How can you mention Jerry Lewis in the same breath as Charles Chaplin?
You can't. No, you can't.
Of course not. You're ridiculous.
But it was Curly from the Three Stooges. He, I believe, is the greatest single comedian who ever lived.
Come on.
It was. Look at him and watch him. I mean, these guys were really original in what they were doing. But as a single individual, I believe he stood out among the whole group, and he was the whole group.
Curly
Howard, who died in January 1952 at the age of 47 from a massive stroke that he had in 1946. But we don't seem to honor this guy as one individual in his craft.
You think his talent exceeded Charles Chaplin?
I believe if you look at the shorts, he made something. He did. He made about 101 shorts, and his antics were outrageous.
What?
See, Charlie Chaplin I can never really get used to because he basically was in a silent screen era, and that was really dull. But Curly, you know...
Have you ever seen have you seen City Lights?
I basically saw it, yeah.
And you basically saw it.
Yeah,
What's the difference between really seeing something and basically seeing it?
Well, basically, Charlie Chaplin got credit for putting the first actor in the role of Adolf Hitler. But it was revealed that the Three Stooges, 9 months before that film came out in 1940, actually did it. What I'm trying to say is they were visionary as comedians. Chaplin has his place in history, but
not quite Curly.
Curly was the number one. Hey, Jay, can I put on a couple of impressions for you?
Why, you?
I went to American Academy Dramatic Arts. That was an original. That took creativity to do that.
Why, you?
And then
hey, porcupine.
Absolutely. And you don't know the shuffle, the curly shuffle? That, too, was an original. And the first break dance, they did in 1936 in one of their shorts.
I liked Curly. I never was a big, ardent admirer of the Three Stooges, but I'd say Curly's probably my favorite.
I'm glad to hear that.
But when they replaced him with other guys who were just overweight, they diminished themselves.
Well, you know, Curly, Moe, and Shemp were three brothers.
I know that.
In fact, Shemp was the original Three Stooges also.
I think Shemp, though, is my all-time favorite human being on Earth. Shemp Howard.
He died in 1955 in a cab of a massive heart attack coming out of a fight. When he saw a fight, he dropped dead in a cab.
You seem to have chronicled their lives, Joe.
Absolutely.
Where in Brooklyn do you reside?
Well, I live in Bensonhurst.
Oh, Benson.
I lived about 2 blocks from where they once lived.
Really? Has the home has it become a shrine?
To me, it has been. Yeah, I'm always pointing it out to kids. They went to PS 29 on 82nd Street and.
Well, you say you do impressions.
Yes.
Can you do Moe?
I can do Tony Curtis and a couple others.
Oh, I want to hear Moe.
Moe.
Why you?
That was good.
That's the only thing I can do is Moe. Why you? Hey, porcupine.
Absolutely. He was Curly looked upon Moe as his father figure.
Calling Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard.
One of the actors. They were nominated for the Academy Award for that show you just mentioned.
What was that? What was the name of that?
It was called Black Hospital or something.
Really?
Yeah, 1934.
Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine.
Yep.
No, Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. That's it.
There
were two Howards and one Fine, Larry Fine.
Right.
From the city council.
Oh, yes.
Program.
Of course I remember you. Well, you saved the day. I have your number. I'm still going to call you.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I just called tonight. You're a really great, you do great imitations.
No, that was the other guy doing that.
Well, you did some, too, in there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're really, really good. I called tonight. I want to ask you what was your opinion on term limits, and then I had a further question real quick.
Well, I just don't think it's all that good of an idea. I think that if the ultimate term limit is the people voting somebody out, and sometimes there's a good reason for keeping the same person in. I don't necessarily think just because a person is new, he's going to be more public-minded. I don't think he's going to be more civic-minded just because he's new. I just don't see that follows. I think that if a person has the devil in him, he'll have the devil in him on the first day, the same as on the 30th day.
Talk about the Rolling Stones and the difficulties of police work. I think that song that you referred to was probably Ruby Tuesday. Remember that?
Well, I do. It wasn't the one. I think As Tears Go By was the one I meant, even though I said it already. She would never say where she came from.
Yeah, that's a beautiful...
Yesterday don't matter when it's gone. She just can't be chained to a life where nothing's gained and nothing's lost.
Despite the cost.
Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday.
There you go.
How's this one? Who's this? The love I saw in you was just a mirage.
I don't know that one.
Smokey Robinson in the Miracle.
Oh, yeah, that's a real soul. Anyway, now that we've not settled that, I really support the police and agree with you that a day of public demonstrations all over the country, not just in New York, supporting the police would be good for everybody's morale. Without the police, I think that within maybe 30 to 90 days, we would become what you see happening in Somalia and Bosnia would be happening here. There'd be absolute murder in the streets, starvation. All institutions would break down.
There's murder in the streets now.
Well, it's
what
within...
can you imagine? Right.
It's held within a certain degree of check. And the thing is, I do want to say something that you'll probably disagree with, but I'll say it anyway. I think that what's-her-name's boyfriend did have something going for his argument in the sense that there's a occupational hazard associated with police work. They deal with the foulest aspects of human behavior on a daily basis for often years and years at a time. And I think that becomes very demoralizing. It becomes very brutalizing.
Flapdoodle. A good person is a good person. A good man's a good man.
Well, it's rough to keep your bearings when I've spoken to some cops, and they lose. It's very easy, shall we say, to lose your compass. Let's leave it at that. And I just think we need to take that factor into account in the training, and they have to have more. Cops need to be willing to go for some kind of group counseling or therapy so that when they have issues that come up, they can discuss it without fear of being drummed out of the force. You know what I'm saying? I just think everybody needs help and emotional support from time to time, and that includes cops. That's all. Does that make sense?
Utterly none at all, but I'm indulging you out of friendship.
That's one of the things I really do appreciate about you, and I share the same ability, and some of my friends don't like it, is that even when I'm dealing with somebody with whom I may disagree on almost all points, it's like you can still like the person and disagree with what they say.
I didn't say anything about liking you.
Well,
kidding. Just kidding around with you. Just playing games. That's all.
I think that's what makes you unique on this station, is that I really feel that you do have that ability, and it's rare, and I hope you never lose it.
Well, there's so many people I can genuinely detest that my need to detest people can always be satisfied by the radio. So the ones I like and yet disagree with, it's not a problem.
Okay. I just think that we have to, at some point, if we're to survive as a nation and as a species, get beyond the old stereotypical left-wing, right-wing politics.
Good. So let me say what I want to say.
Go ahead.
Which is why I don't give any credence to your philosophizing about how the rigors of police work exacts a terrible toll on the ethics and morality of policemen, and inevitably this is the reason why they're such SOBs, as we all know they are. I don't know any such thing. I don't think they're so bad. I don't think they're... What you're saying is, the reason... I acknowledge, Jay, the cops stink, but here's the good reason why they stink, because they deal with bad people. And I say flapdoodle, twaddle, balderdash, and oatmeal.
Well, if that's what
let me talk, will you please? You know I hate that. Why do you do it?
I thought you'd made a point.
No, I was about to before you made me forget it.
Flapdoodle, go ahead.
All right, look. The police are not bad. They're not bad. It's not okay for the police to be bad because they're exposed to so many bad people in the line of their work. They're not. I'll make it simpler for you. They're not bad to begin with. As I said before, police don't become bad. Police don't get bad. There are bad people. There are bad callers to radio shows. There are bad hosts of radio shows. There are bad sanitation men, bad astrophysicists, bad marriage counselors, bad corned beef salesmen. There are bad people who get into professions. Sometimes they become policemen. Why should the police be exempt from hiring SOBs if no one else is? Will you explain that to me?
Let me get to the core of your argument. What is it that makes, people are just born bad? At what point does somebody become bad? What makes a person bad, the way you use the word?
Would you say there are any bad people?
Of course there are people.
Nick, I don't want you to go into 6 minutes of philosophy. Are there bad people?
Yes.
All right. Are there bad people in every walk of life?
Of course.
Why should the police be exempt from bad people if the other professions are not?
Well, when you put it that simple, I can't disagree with you.
I'm glad.
I'm just saying that it's possible for a good person to become a cop or to become a baker or to become a talk show host, and then due to the stresses and strains and rigors and
no,
life.
But you're wrong, because the stresses of life don't turn good into evil. Evil exists on its own.
Then what's temptation?
It's social. Let me tell you, it is a canard. It's a myth imposed by left-wing social scientists that people get bad because of the rigors of on-the-job work. It's baloney. It's not true. It's a lie. Evil exists on its own. And I rest my case, and Nick, I must put you to rest temporarily because I have many callers and only a few minutes left.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hello, Jay.
How do you do, Abdullah?
All right, fine. I want to ask you a question, right? You said that you don't think black people have any reason to fear the police department, right? I gave you a couple examples, and these examples aren't too outrageous, and I think if you talk to the majority of black people, this happened to somebody in their family. If you're a black motorist, right, and you're driving your car, the police will pull you over for no known reason. They'll ask you the most inhuman questions like, is this your car? What are you doing in this neighborhood? Are you coming to visit somebody? Where were you on your way going to? As a white person, that would never happen to you. I know this one black person, right, who was jogging in this neighborhood with a red sweatsuit on, right? He was stopped by the police, and they said that he was involved in a robbery. He said, got off the subway system, and I'm running to get to my house. I had nothing to do with this crime. They put him in a police car and drove him to the store. When the guy came out the store, he said a black man with a red sweatsuit sitting in a police car said he did it. They charged him with that crime, and the police have a policy of clearing the books. As far as if there's 10 unsolved crimes, and they catch a person for one similar crime, they'll charge with all 11. That way they get all their books cleared.
You seem to be an expert on the police department.
No, I'm an expert on this one particular incident because I have to know these things to protect my sons because I have 2 boys.
Well, I'll tell you how you can protect your boys.
Mm-hmm.
Keep them out of trouble.
This man was not doing nothing but running down the street to come from the subway system to his house. And he was arrested by the police department, and he was charged with 11 crimes. And they told him if he went to court, that he would have a hard time getting out of these because this jury's not going to hear about one case, they're going to hear about 11 of them. So they told him his only choice was to plea bargain. And this man wasn't a rich man, so he couldn't afford a good lawyer. He had a public defender, and he got railroaded. Now, was he committing a crime or running from the subway to his house? He happened to have a sweatsuit on. He happened to be black. That was his crime that he committed. And your response to me is tell my kids not to get in trouble.
That's what my response to you is.
So
to tell them to be good people, not to look to hurt other people, to live their lives and make as much as they can out of their lives, and to worry about themselves and not worry about other people that much.
But that's not going to help.
Second best.
That's not going to help them because they have to realize that the police see them as criminals first.
You want to know something?
Second.
You want to know something?
Yes, sir.
And I'm not ashamed to tell you this in front of how many thousands of people are listening.
Yes.
You are destroying your own sons more than the police ever will.
How
and
you
you ought to
think
be
of that?
you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I would destroy my sons if I chose my sons. They were
You're
equal to white kids.
You're poisoning their minds against the whole world, black and white, and you don't even know it.
Okay, if I would have told my kids, sons,
believe me, I wish
jog in the street
I
like
wish
a white man can.
I
and
wish.
Don't worry about it. Police won't bother you.
You want to know
drive
something?
Your car,
you want to know
and
something?
The police won't bother you because you're black. My kids will go out with that wrong information and we'll be harassed.
You want to know something?
Yes, sir.
Even if you're right, you're wrong.
How you think of that? I have to protect my children.
Even if you're right, you're wrong. You know why I say that?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
If it's easy for me to, if you're going to dismiss everything I say out of hand because it's easy for me to say, then I don't think you really wanted to call me.
Go ahead. Talk. I'm sorry.
Because you're not going to give me any credence to whatever I say anyway, so why did you do it?
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Talk.
Even if I sense something in you that would like to do the right thing for your children, and I'm not a father, and I'm nobody to lecture you on how to be a father, so I admit it. But I sense some decency in you. And maybe you feel that hurt because of these stories. I don't know how much of it is true or not. People tend to exaggerate on the phone no matter what color they are. Well, you're laughing because you know I'm right. You hear all the BS people throw at me constantly.
I hear it.
So you'll excuse me if I'm skeptical of maybe 10% of what you told me. All right, but maybe there's something to what you say, and I say even if you're 100% right in what you're describing to me, sometime in life, everybody has to take a little guff. Listen to me. Mm-hmm. Sometimes everybody, even white people, impossible as it seems to believe, have to kiss a little ahem and have to take a little guff. You know, there's that great movie. Whose movie was that? Where they make the guy white. No, was that? It was recent, not the one with Godfrey Cambridge. Eddie Murphy did it. When he becomes white, he does that picture where he's white and everything goes great for him. I mean, the law of gravity is repealed for him, and people give him presents.
Mm-hmm.
No,
he did it on Saturday Night Live. I know what you're talking about. It was
he did it on
sketch.
That's right.
It was a short sketch, right?
That's
right.
You remember that sketch?
Yes, sir.
And sometimes I get the impression some black people really feel that way.
I don't think it's that overt. No intelligent person really thinks that overt. I'm not sitting in my house thinking white people are out to get me.
But Abdullah, it's not a matter of intelligence. I don't think you're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's your emotions. I think you've psyched yourself out. This is not... People think everything in the mind is intelligence. There's a lot of intelligent people who are mentally crippled because of they psych themselves out. Because they get nuts. They get paranoid and crazy. It's not that you're stupid or you're not intelligent. It's that you're nuts, a little bit crazy. Now listen.
Okay.
What I'm trying to tell you is that, believe me, everybody has to take guff sometimes. And if the worst thing... And I'm not saying it's pleasant. I wouldn't like it if that cop stopped me and I figured he was doing it because I was black. I'm not saying that's a great thing. If he did it, if it happened, as you say, and I'm skeptical that it happened exactly.
I'll tell you exactly what happened, word for word.
Wait, I don't want to hear that now.
Okay.
I think that if that happened, you're going to hate this, but it's not so horrible. So they didn't do anything wrong. So you're giggling. There's worse things in life. Sometimes you have to be insulted a little. It just happens. The world isn't always fair. But I don't think it's as bad as you're making it out that it is. I just don't. And it's not because I hate you because you're black. I get nervous if I hear black people call me up, and sometimes they do on the show, and say the world is against me and this and that, and it's horrible, and I hate everybody. And I'm telling you, one of the reasons it bothers me is I have a tendency to be that way myself. I probably, if I were black, might be worse than you, given my own emotional makeup. But I don't think so. I am an emotional man. Sometimes I get paranoid, but I really think I can see when somebody's out of line, or somebody is misreading the situation, or going too far in their paranoia. And that's what I believe when some black people call me up and say to me that the world is horrible and it's totally ridiculous and everybody's out to get me. It's just not true. You want to know something? Believe it or not, most cops and most white people are too busy to worry about trying to do in black people 24 hours a day. Period. That's the truth.
That's your question, right? If you're a white officer, right, and you live in a predominantly white town, right, and then you work in a predominantly black town, and when you see a black family, you see a black family where the father's an alcoholic, or he's beating his wife, or when the majority of black people you meet are criminal in nature, you don't get to meet the general black public. Don't you think that clouds police officer's opinion? When he sees a black person, the first thing he thinks is, what does this criminal want? Or what is this black person doing?
So let me ask you a question.
Why are they parking their car? Why are they jogging in this neighborhood?
How many times when you read in the paper that the woman gave birth on the way to the hospital and it was a black woman and white cops, those were white racists that bring the black baby into the world and take care of the mother?
I'm not saying all police are racist. Wow. I'm talking about a reality.
All right.
You can't say, I don't want to end the police department because black people get killed far brighter than white people because most of the criminals in the black neighborhood, they get to us before they get to you. So I don't say that the police should be done away with. What I'm saying is that a black person has to realistically realize that a policeman is not necessarily their friend. The police person is a person that keeps criminals away from them, but views them as a criminal also. No matter how much money you make, no matter how rich you become, you're still black to white.
If they don't want them to be viewed as criminals, let them cut down on the number of people who are in fact criminals. Who are doing though? Let's be blunt. Who's doing the carjacking out in Newark?
Black kids.
All right.
Control that.
Well, I don't know, but you cannot blame a white policeman if he sees 35 black carjackers in a row, and then he sees a 36th who looks like the first 35, maybe he'll be a little suspicious. Is that racist? Or is that common sense?
It's not racist. If you pull a person over, right, and they have a driver's license and a registration for their car,
right.
Did you ask them a stupid question like, does this car belong to you?
By the way, can I point something out to you?
Yes, sir.
How about in Newark, where many of a greater percentage of the police are black and get into the same scrapes with black people that white cops get into in New York, and they get complaints for brutality. Are those black cops racist?
Remember you made an earlier statement that the black police are blue first before they're black?
Yes.
You don't think that's the case?
Wait a minute. That should be. What should their loyalty be to their color or to their job or to right?
You're not.
All right,
every time I talk to you,
all right. Listen to me.
You're not listening to me.
All right, I apologize.
Okay.
I'll tell you what.
Yes.
Right now, I have to say goodbye because we've been on a long time. And I have to do the Road Watch America, for which I am 5 minutes late. But you're welcome to call back, and we'll hash it out some more.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Okay. So I had something to follow with that because that was kind of, I don't know, amateurish. But anyway,
Not at all.
I have a quote for Hilly or for some others. Barren knowledge is a wretched thing when knowledge ought to bear fruit, but it is a good thing when it would otherwise act merely as a temptation to pursue truth.
Where did you see that?
This is
said
from
that?
Newman Synthesis.
Cardinal Newman?
Cardinal Newman Synthesis, yeah. Page 375.
Why don't you send that to me?
I will.
Will you? You promise?
I certainly will. But another thing I wanted to say when I called Wednesday, was when you were talking about the children that were so, battered and killed and all that. I realized that you can't slob all over the microphone because that wouldn't be, professional. But I could hear your heart cry. I really could. And I'm sure it made a few other hearts cry. But what we have to do is stop the tears and do something, You really do. But it's funny how you can hear somebody's heart cry when they tell something they really believe in.
No, I believe that's true. You can convey emotion if you really mean what you say. If you throw your heart and follow your heart, the words will flow.
Of course.
Sometimes when I'm self-conscious about what I'm saying, I stumble and stammer. But when I forget myself and just speak from my heart, then I never stumble or stammer, if you notice that sometimes.
Absolutely.
Jeanette, I'm glad you called because what I was saying did reach me, and I hoped it reached a lot of people. I don't know what good the words do, but sometimes they do move people to act. And if it moved one person to inquire or to be circumspect about seeing a bruised child, well, then maybe it was not for naught.
Right.
But I really do not understand people who kill their young. Jeanette, thank you very much for hanging in there.
Surely, Jay, it was a pleasure.
And I will go on and greet caller number 30.
Okay.
Thank you, dear. I hope to hear from you soon. I think it's the cutest thing I've ever heard, somebody who counts the calls. It's very fetching, and I kind of have a crush on you.
Oh, thank you. And that's returned.
And please, dear, will you send me that...
yes, I quote from Synthesis.
From the Newman Synthesis?
Of course.
All right. Thank you very much.
Good night. Relax.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Let's say hello to Kevin on WABC. Kevin, Jay Diamond here.
Yeah.
Hi.
How you doing, Jay?
Good. Speak
I'm
up.
number 30 now.
Number 30.
Maybe I should have that in some type of a lottery number.
Big 3-0.
Yeah. You know, when you were coming back on with the Superman lead-in, and then you said, I'm back, I was thinking maybe this should be the new...
I can't hear you.
The new Superman thing, when Superman comes back after he's died, he could come back as Jay Diamond. Hello?
I'm listening to you.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask you about... you had mentioned Leonard Cohen before. You saw him on page 6, and I tried to get that post, but they were out when I was driving home before. What was that thing all about, I was wondering?
There was a picture of him there. I don't even know for what. I don't have it in front of me now.
Oh, okay.
But there was a picture, and what was striking about it was his resemblance to Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, you guys were talking about that. You were talking about music before. Is Leonard Cohen someone you've been interested in at all?
Never heard of the man.
You never heard of him before?
Not really.
Oh, he's famous for Suzanne Takes You Down to a Place near the river. That's a famous song that he had written.
You're fading out. That's